Phlegmman and Bileman. The man was walking down the city street, his head hurt and was throbbing. There was dried blood on his hands, he did not recall who he was or where he was. As he walked, he saw his reflection in a store window, he stopped and looked. There was a large bruise on his left cheek and his lower lip was swollen. He was wearing jeans, a white shirt and what once might have been a halfway decent sport coat, but which now was torn, tattered and splattered with dried mud and dried blood. He was hungry, but had no money, his wallet being gone, obviously he had been mugged. Suddenly, he heard, "Ha, ha. You freak," from behind him. He turned around quickly and saw a man holding up a wallet and laughing. This was surely the man who robbed and beat him. The man became angry. "Give that back," he shouted. He then noticed a strong urge to cough. The other man came closer. "Why don't you make me, you freak? Give it back now," the first man shouted. His lungs were really clogging up. "Come and get it, you freak," the other man replied. Suddenly the first man's jaw began to dislocate, just like a rattlesnake does in all the nature films. "Oh my God," the other man had time to scream just as the first man coughed. From the first man's mouth flew a huge green/yellow wad of phlegm which hit the other man, covering him from the waist down. The phlegm quickly dried and the other man was immobilized. The first man went to the other man and took the wallet from him. He opened the wallet and looked at the ID inside. He looked back at the man stuck in the phlegm and said, "I remember you now and what you did, but he who laughs last, laughs best." He then held his left jacket cuff up to his mouth and spoke into the first button, "Phlegmman to Bileman, please respond." "This is Bileman, go ahead," came the reply. "I have captured a criminal on 3rd and Main, please come and bile him, over." "This is Bileman, I confirm, we'll be there in 2 minutes." The criminal started to scream and struggle uselessly in futile jarring motions. "No please, not Bileman," he begged. Suddenly a deep rumbling voice responded, "You should have thought of that before you hurt Phlegmman, it was the one and only Phlegmman and Bileman." Bileman. Bileman's stomach began to heave and his mouth opened, also like a rattlesnake, and a huge gout of bile flew out and covered the criminal. "Agurhstruji," the criminal screamed as he dissolved. Soon there was only a yellow/green puddle where the criminal once stood. "What now?" asked Phlegmman. Bileman grinned, reached into his shirt pocket, took out 2 straws, handed one to Phlegmman and said, "Let's eat."